Hi, welcome back. In the first video, I walked you through steps 1 through 11. Today, we're going to pick up with step 12 and we're going to finish the Excel final project from step 12 to the end. In step 12, it says in B13, add a formula to calculate the sum of the domestic gross for all 10 movies. So I'm going to go to cell B13 and I'm going to use a formula that calculates the sum. So I'm going to use a formula called equals sum, and I type a parenthesis, and I'm going to select with that plus sign, click and hold in B3 down to B12, and I'm going to press enter. When I go back and click on B13, I can come up here to my formula bar and I can check to make sure that my formula is correct. You will see that in B13, I've typed in equals sum parenthesis B3 colon B12, and it has added up all of the values in B3 to B12 and has come up with a total value. That at step 13 in B14, add a formula to calculate the average of the domestic gross for all 10 movies. Do not include the total. So in B14, I'm going to use a formula called equals average. Equals average, parenthesis, and again, I'm going to click on B3, hold in my mouse, and drag down to B12. This formula is going to take B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus B8 plus B9 plus B10 plus B11 plus B12. It's going to add them up, and then it's going to divide by the total number of movies. And so it's going to divide by 10 movies, and it's going to end up giving you what's called the average. The average is 366 million. I can come up in B14. I can check to make sure that I'm using equals average B3 through B12. And that is step 13. In step 14, we are going to click in B15 and we are going to add a formula to calculate the max of the domestic gross for all 10 movies. So in step in B15, I'm going to type equals max, parentheses. I'm going to click and drag to select B3 to B12. I'm going to press enter. And what this formula does is it searches B3 to B12 and it finds the highest number and it returns that value. In step 15, I'm going to go to B16 and add a formula to calculate the min of the domestic gross for all 10 movies. So I'm going to go to B16. I'm going to use the formula equals min, parenthesis, and I'm going to again select B3 through B12. This formula is going to search B3 to B12 and it's going to find the lowest value or the min. It's going to return that value in cell B16. I am now on step 16. Select B3 to B16, B3 to B16, and we're going to add format cells to currency. So with the cells selected, we're going to come up under our home menu, under number. We're going to drop this down and we're going to find $. Currency. Select A3 to A16 in step 17, A3 to A16. We're going to italicize. So we're going to come up here under font, turn on italics, shade a light blue color using blue accent 1 lighter 80%. So watch what happens. I come up here and I drop down the fill or the paint bucket. And I'm going to just hover over the blues until I find blue accent 1 lighter 80%, which happens to be this top one. I'm going to click on it. And it's going to fill in the cells with blue accent 1 lighter 80%. I'll now select B3 to B16. B3 down to B16. Shade a medium blue color using blue accent 1 lighter 60%. So I'm going to drop down that paint bucket again And this time I'm looking for blue accent 1 lighter 60%. Okay, that was step 18. Now let's scroll to the next page of directions. We are now on step 19. Select C3 to C16. We're going to shade a medium blue color, blue accent 1 lighter 40%. We're going to drop this down. We're going to move to blue accent 1 lighter 40%. That's step 19. In step 20, we're going to use the data in cells A3 to B12. So I'm going to click on A3, hold in my mouse. I'm going to go over to B3 and down to B12. I will show you that again. I'm going to select A3 to B12 by clicking on A3, holding in my mouse, dragging over to B3, and down to B12. So I'm selecting the range A3 to B12. I'm making a pie chart. So I'm going to go to my insert menu. I'm going to insert a pie chart. I like the 3D pie chart. I am going to click and drag my chart a little bit out of the way. It says my chart has to have a title. So let's put the title on this chart. We're going to call this 10 highest grossing movies of 2019. My chart has to have data labels. So again, I click somewhere in the white part of my chart and I click on the plus sign for chart elements. I'm going to make sure that title's on. Yes. Data labels are on, and there's a legend. So title, data labels, and legend. Title, I have data labels, that's all the values, and I have a legend. I can change the style. If you want to change the style, you can go ahead and change the style, whichever one you like the best. You can change the color theme. If you would like to change the color theme, that is also acceptable. If you would like to do that, you can go ahead and do that. You also can change individual pieces of the pie by clicking on just a piece of the pie. You can change those colors up here, or you can also just click on a color piece of the pie, right click, and you can change the fill. Watch when I change it to bright red. I can click on the next piece of the pie, right click, drop down the fill. I can change this to gold. Then I have gray and I have brown. I'm going to change this piece of the pie. I'm going to change it to orange. So I'm just simply changing pieces of the pie to colors of my choice. You don't have to change the pieces of the pie to those colors. Also, you can make your chart larger if you want. Just grab the corners and drag it out. Your project is now finished. You've done a great job. I recommend that you check everything against the rubric to make sure that you've earned all 35 points. Does your assignment look similar to the example? And also keep in mind, our styles and fonts will be different, but you will lose points if you do not use formulas. So you must use formulas in these cells. Takes you to the end of the project. We're going to save, and you're ready to submit to the assignment folder for the final project for Excel.